Can you hear me? Sorry, I was in another room. I was cooking something in the kitchen, and I didn't hear the phone.
This week on the Punks on Pizza podcast, we're talking to German photographer and director Heiner Mühlenbrock about his work with The Birthday Party, William S Burroughs, and so much more.
But
on that note, I thought we could get into this, and I could get into some of those questions I have for you there.
Yeah. So you would like to start?
Yeah, if you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So the first thing is something about digital. Yeah, my position is I was never afraid, and I was always open for new technology. And I mean, there's some people, for example, this some of the most famous filmmaker in Germany, Wim Wenders.
Okay, yeah.
So in earlier times, you always pretend to be, I'm a really cineast, poor, and cinema is 35 mil, and digital will be the hell, it will be worth. So in the end, he was the first one, he was shooting for Sony. He'd get millions for the film around the world, and it was a really shit movie he did. And then, before, like cinema and these old films, it's like a religion, and I always preferred filmmakers who was open. I mean, it would be the same thing, people would stop, now we have from silent movie to the other, to the sound. Yeah. So I don't go this way. It's so stupid, you have to find a way and do something new.
What do you shoot on more these days, film or digital?
Now, I mean, I'm not really into film so much anymore. I'm building up some new projects. So sometimes I do some documentaries, or at the same time now, I'm doing a lot of photograph. I have a big project about photography, but in this term, I see myself as a photographer, but in the internet. I don't photograph the reality. I photograph the internet reality. I collect pictures. I make new series about this. So it's like working with found footage and stuff. And this goes through my whole work in the end, I can see. And this, for example, I like, because this is something new, and that you can to work with found footage. And my position is sometimes why I have to shoot all the time something new. You can't shoot something new. For me, sometimes I think there's so many pictures in the world, we don't understand them, or we have to connect them, and you can, I don't know, make analysis or whatever. So use this material, and this is the kind of work, for example, I like.
So I guess that kind of leads into the next question of, do you find yourself behind the camera more often these days for work or pleasure?
Yeah, in the moment I'm doing more, I tell you, I do a lot of work, and this is a kind of, what is it called, not snapshot, if you do a shot on, screenshots. I'm working a lot with screenshots,
okay.
But I feel more and more, I feel myself as a photographer, because I choose something, even if there is a picture in the internet. Sometimes I'm waiting for the right moment or things like this, and so I have the feeling I make screenshots, but for me it's not a different if I have my camera and look through the camera and shoot something, or I make a screenshot. Screenshot is just a new possibility, and at the same time, I'm using more and more the iPhone for photographic work, and for me, I say, no, I'm not so much interested in, for me it's not, pictures is not a question of quality, how sharp or what. No, It's a question of what kind of moments you pick up. And now I call it 1 minute movies. It's just small things. I try to catch, I see something and I try to catch it with the camera, and then I see in the end, if you just take 1 minute, so it's like a short movie. It's just explain one moment and stuff. And these things I like to test. And for me, it's also play with it, you know. And I think that because later you ask what I'm thinking about the whole digital world and stuff. For me, I think it's a pity that so less people really work with the new digital possibility. I mean, when they came up with the iPhone, for example, they, you can make films with it, you can make everything, sometimes it's better than a normal camera and whatever. But do you see films which are shot with this kind of technique? No.
Generally only at the indie level, yeah.
Yeah, and if you go today, you go to a shoot, sometimes now the digital camera and everything what they need together, sometimes for me it looks like it's even bigger than 35 in earlier times. You know, they have these monitors, and they have these, and then they have this connection, and then it needs this operating thing and whatever. So the whole construction is bigger than the old system, I think, sometimes. But in earlier times, when everybody had this big stuff like 35 mil and so on, they said, forget this shit, it's so big, it's so heavy, in the future you can just make a movie with a very small camera. And when everybody bought a small camera, then the big camera came up again, and then, no, this is better, you know. And this is, I think it's an industry. They always bring people something new, but then people don't really use it, and so it's a circle. It's coming again. You know the story with our headphones. You remember when they talked to us, buy these small headphones. Everybody throw away these old big headphones, and when everybody had a small one, then the industry came, the sound with the big one, it's much more better, you know.
No, you could say the same for vinyl right now, for sure, with the way it's coming back around.
Yeah. It's always, and I don't know, and and in this between, you have to find your position and what kind of stuff you like to work with, you know, what you need for your things, and And for me, it was kind of that I did this video at that time was something because I just was on the film school. I was a film student, and this camera I used, it was Umatic low band. It was the first time where you had a kind of professional video system. It was big cassettes. It was not tape anymore like before, and it was in color. So it was, you can say, the first color camera with tape things you could put into the machine and record it, and you have two channels, like a cassette tape, you know. And before you had it was only black and white. It was reels. Like a tape you have on the big tape machine, you know, and this was it was very easy. You didn't have this big camera. You can film 1 hour. You don't have to stop, or 20 minutes. It's not like with reels. It's finished after 10 minutes. So it was a new kind of possibility to work with the technique, and at the same time, I was thinking, now these people are in my, they were staying in my flat. I was living there with 2 other guys in a big factory space. And when the birthday party came to Berlin, they were staying in our place. And after a while, I noticed, they planned to go to the studio and so on. And then I thought, fuck, in the next future, I want to make a fiction movie, which is based also on music. And then I was totally fascinated by this Godard movie, 1+1, with the Rolling Stones, because this was the first movie or ever I saw where you see a band just working, not a show. You just see them working. And I'm totally fascinated, was fascinated about to see the Rolling Stones not on stage. You see them working in a studio. And then I thought, hey, fuck, why I'm thinking about script and this and stuff. Now I have the possibility, I have this video, doesn't cost me anything. I have time. Why I don't go and do the nearest thing which is possible, to have a band around, they go to the studio. Why you don't go with them? Why you think about, what I can do for my next movie and stuff? No, it's like you can find the money on the street, You just have to see it. And then I thought, okay, maybe I didn't know anything what I will do there, but I just had the feeling I will try to film this, and later I can use it for my fiction film, the experience. This was my idea.
Oh, okay. So basically, when they stayed with you, you got close enough with them that they invited you to come into the studio to film all that footage?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't exactly remember, but I think for me it was something, hey, I'm stupid. Why I'm thinking about what I have to film? Why I don't go with them? They're nice guys. Sound stuff is interesting. Studio, I know only the studio from the film sound and stuff. Why you don't go there and just watch them and try to film something? Maybe it's nothing in the end, you throw it away. Maybe it's interesting. I don't know what's going on there, what will be happened. And then I asked them, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about, we have this new technique, it's very easy, it doesn't cost us anything, I would like to film. Is it possible? Yeah, sure, come. And then I went with them, and in the beginning, I had a small crew. I had a second guy for the camera. Then this cameraman was also know things about light, and I had a sound man and stuff. And then I noticed, no, it's impossible. I can't work there with a crew, because this is so intimate. This is such an intimate working situation. If you really want to get into it and that they accept you, then you have to be invisible. And otherwise, it's not good for both of us. And then I said to my crew, sorry, you have to leave. After 1 or 2 days, it's not possible. I have to do it alone. And then I found a system. I don't know exactly today. Sometimes if I see this, sometimes on cuts you can see on the video that I put something in because to get synchronized. Because I only was working with one camera and not with two. But I think, and then I had two possibilities with the sound. So I put one microphone in the studio, like where the mixing is, and one, I think, or two in the room where the band was, and Mick was in a box.
Yeah.
So this was my sound situation. How I can get the sound there, how I can get the sound there. And sometimes if I watch these things and the sound even is not really bad, and then I'm wondering how I made it with just 2 sound lines and live. I didn't cut it much in the end. Sometimes I think, this is interesting. If the technique gives you only a small possibility, and then you have to react on this, and you come to another result. And so I just put on some spots, I put some light, I had my sound and stuff, and then I was alone with the camera and get a little bit hidden, and so I could be in every situation. There's very rare, I think there's one point in the film where Nick is in the box and he starts having an argument with Roland.
Okay, yeah.
And then you'll see on one point, he's turning around a little bit, and he sees me, that I'm filming it. But this is the only situation.
Yeah,
but for a second, you get to see, he noticed me now. And maybe he's thinking about, can I have this fight with him, or how I react? I don't know. And but it was interesting. And mostly all these other situations, I think that after a while they didn't notice me anymore.
So, all right, I gotta onto the next question here. These recording sessions for the birthday party, they turned out to pretty much be what the end of the band put together and put out. Did you feel that at all?
It was not, on one hand, I don't know, it was not so obvious, okay, this will be the end. Maybe, I don't know, you have to ask Nick when he came up with this idea, but what you feel, and this also, if you really watch video, you can see there's a lot of problems. And there's a lot of misunderstanding, and you also can see they're really on drugs. They're not concentrated enough. Everybody is in his own jam, in his own world. And there's not really much communication and things like this and stuff. And this is also why, in the end, they didn't finish the album.
Yeah, it was just released as an EP.
Yeah, so they did it much, much more later in London. So this was a situation, and this was interesting to watch, because normally, and I noticed in the beginning, they never had a studio like this before in their life. This was a Hansa studio where David Bowie was and stuff. And this was a studio in earlier times, they record there with an orchestra.
Okay.
And normally, with a band like this, you come in the fucking basement studio with some carpets on the wall or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah,
and this was the most biggest space, like Roland, he was really working, or Tracy, with the sound, in the room. They used Fender boxes, and then tried to record this sound from the Fender in the room and stuff. This was very interesting how they worked with the room, and this they never had before. And but the producer, this was very interesting. He never made any trouble. He just came sometimes, Daniel Miller, and he was watching them, and he didn't say nothing. But when I was later there with him, with the Depeche Mode, if they get stuck, he went to the instruments and gives them a nice electronic bass line or something, some ideas. But with Nick, they left him, they could do whatever they could like to do. And that the band normally going into this kind of big studio and they're not finished the record, this is not normal.
Yeah. I understand.
And so I think, you can see there is some problems, especially between Roland and Nick. Tracy, I think for me, he was always a little bit outside of conflicts. He was more watching it.
Okay.
What?
Oh, yeah, I know.
I think so. I have my feeling, because I just, when I was, checking your stuff, I saw there was a new video about from Mick about Tracy, and he's talking a little bit about him. A lot of people think, just a funny cowboy guy, but no, he was not. Okay, he was not only the cowboy guy, but he was also the cowboy guy. This was his image, and he was a totally different image than Roland, and a totally different image than all the other ones. So, but this makes him also interesting. But in terms of music, what he was really involved, I never really, the discussion, for example, you see this in the movie, the discussion is between Nick and Roland. and not with him, you know. And so this is very special to say. It's the same with the drummer. What kind of position has a drummer? What kind of position has a bass player? It's mostly the guitar or something, and the singer, sure. But all the other musicians are more in the background. And I also saw him a little bit like this, you know. And also in private life, they were staying a long time also in our flat. He was very close with his girlfriend, and also Roland was very close with his girlfriend. So they mostly separated, and so they lived with their girlfriend in their fantasies, you know. Okay. This one couple, they were like ghosts. For me, I always have I saw them as some ghost in our flat. Like, it looks like they never touch the ground when they walk, because they also were so skinny, you know. Okay, and they always went in one room in the corner. They stick together. And Tracy reminds me always more. Sorry, I have to say, but it's not unsympathetic. A little bit this cliche of a rock star.
Okay, yeah.
You know, a rock band, and his girlfriend. So it was not. I mean, they were really a couple, I think. But she was also a little bit. Normally, you would say not a fan. What you say for these girls?
Okay, she had a bit of what, like
if you're together with a rock star, it's not only fan. It's not the muse. There's another name for it. I don't find it now. And so it was a funny couple, okay. And she had a very special voice, and this fascinated me to watch them. You know, for me it was not normal like people like them in Berlin. So it was something special. Because you also asked me something, if I have some special memories. For me with Tracy it was really funny, because all these people, I think Mick, I don't see him so much in these pictures. I think he was not staying in our flat for a long time. He just find very quick another space. But I remember that Tracy, his girlfriend, and Nick, and Anita and stuff, they stayed for a long time in our space, and it was a big factory space. And then, in the end, in this big room, there was one corner, and it looks like everybody kicks out the suitcase and just puts all the things they have in the corner. It was like a small hill of different clothes. And in the evening, it was so funny for me to watch. During the day, nobody gives a shit about how they look. But when it becomes darker and it was time to leave out, to go out, because at that time we went out very often to some special bars, nearly every night. But then they really start to get dressed.
That's when
I was wondering, like, this hill of clothes, how they can find in this garbage, you know, nice dresses. In the end, they were always totally nice dressed, very special. So they were really kind of, being vain, or they really take care about their outside, their look. And Tracy, he was so special that I only saw this as a child. I think my grandfather or people did it later. I never saw it. People who have a mustache, they have a kind of, what is it? A tie for the mustache.
Okay.
And normally you put some, I don't know if you put stuff on, then you put this tie on on top of the mustache, and it goes around your head, and you sleep with it. And this keeps it flat or something, I don't know, in a shape. And he used it. It was so funny. I never saw, at that time, so many people have mustache and stuff, but I never saw somebody who used this this tie, you know.
That's a funny image to think, the tie around the mustache with the cowboy hat on.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was sleeping there or he did this just for some hours. I can't remember. But for me, it was old grandfathers that did it, you know. And then he was, all other people were drinking a lot of vodka.
Okay, yeah.
And I never liked so much the vodka, because vodka, I think, stinks very quick out of your mouth, you know, a very special smell. And I also like whiskey. And I think at that time, I only liked also bourbon whiskey. I didn't like the other whiskeys. And I think at that time, my favorite was Four Roses. There was not much bourbon exist in Germany. And then he came to me and said, come on, you have to bring something here. I bought a bottle, this is my whiskey. And this was White Turkey. and for a long time, I was only drinking Wild Turkey, because for a long time, there was no much different nice brands, you know. And always when I drink or order this whiskey, I was thinking about him, because he told me about this whiskey, you know, nobody else.
Oh, I always knew that as the drink choice of Hunter S. Thompson, actually.
Yeah.
He was big on that. But no, that's great to hear about Tracy. I find he's the one you hear the least about, and people, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the guy.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. But I wanted to ask.
No, it's nice that people do these sites also for Roland, and I also can say, if I don't know if you are connected with these guys with this site.
Through the different like fan pages, like where I was talking to.
Yeah,
I'm on.
I mean this on Facebook, for example, where I was writing who is stealing my material and stuff. Who is doing this site? You know this guy?
I don't know who's running that page. No, I'm just on there. I'm active, but I'm not.
Okay. And you have a kind of blog or something?
I've been filming.
What?
I've been filming interviews with people and putting them up out there. Like I said, I used to put on shows until the pandemic flattened that.
So, for example, if you like, you can also show the whole film.
Oh, that...
I don't mind, because I think if people take care about it, I was a little bit, not really pissed. I was pissed about a little bit about his answer. And if you wouldn't come into the discussion, I think I was thinking about stop him during YouTube, because just to say, hey, you know, in internet stealing is normal, or God bless you or something. I didn't like his answer, and because I think it's very important to support artists.
I agree.
And if you use something, then please ask or mention the name and stuff, and not taking it without anything, you know. And you also can't take music from other people. And so be careful about that. And I don't mind. I'm also like not stealing. Sure, sometimes you use some music, maybe it's not so right. But in a way, normally I try to be correct. And I also say all this discussion, for example, about copyright.
Yep.
For me, I think it would be very easy to solve this problem. I would say everybody can use everything. But if you make money with it, you have to pay.
Well, that's like public domain, right?
So, and that means, for example, if you, like as an independent filmmaker, you make a low-budget movie, you would like to take a really nice music you like. But this band, maybe it's big. No, you can't afford. No, it's, I don't know, you never could pay this music. I think it's wrong. Take it, but if you make money with this, then you pay the band on this level, you know. If you make $100 maybe you have to go get them 50 or I don't know how much, but not you can't use it if you don't pay like 20,000, 30,000 for the song or something, you know. I think it's stupid.
No, like a fair percentage-based deal. No, I hear what you mean. About that, actually, that leads to the next question. Now, the actual physical release of the documentary Mutiny, The Last Birthday Party, there's been speculation behind it. A little while ago, there was the Birthday Party website based out of Australia that was selling it on DVD. Was that an official release? Has there been an official release? And did you see any royalties from that?
No, I have to say something. This film I was not showing for a long time official, because I thought it was not possible. Also about the length, 25 minutes. Which TV station have a space for this and was showing? So there was never something I thought I can sell it to TV, and then maybe I show it to some festivals. I really don't know exactly. And for me, in the end, I thought it's like a good wine, you know. Let it be there. In 10 years, the wine is getting more expensive and better. So the first time where it was official shown was when Nick became 50, and there was an exhibition about his career in Australia, in Melbourne. And then Mick Harvey asked me, can we show your video there? And I said, sure. I mean, I made it for you and for me. And if you need it and if you can use it, sure, it's your material, it's your work. I was filming you. I can't tell you now you have to pay me for this or something. No, you can use it, sure. Because it's in first moment, it's for us, for you and for me. And for me, it was, I never, ever heard anything about this video, and he never said anything. It was Nick. Never, ever. And sometimes I was a little bit, I don't know, sad or also a little bit pissed, because I was criticized at that time. When I started these kind of things with them, I was involved in the music scene with Neubauten and all these people. And I tried to make up a little bit of discussion, like, you know, you have to be careful how you sell yourself to the media. And I think this was, for me, it all, the biggest mistake and the biggest stupidity of all the musicians we have, that they never was clear what kind of power they have and why they never did by themselves like a TV program, you know, not MTV, this kind of shit. No, a real program about music around the world, and this, I think, it was the biggest mistake from all musicians. And I told them at that time, you know, you have to be careful. If you become more and more famous, what they will do? Yeah, they would like to have an interview with you, they film you, they make a program, 6 minutes, and then you're gone. Next time you're not interesting anymore. No, stop this. Don't tell them, if you want to have something about us, we do it by ourselves. So they can go to filmmakers like me or other filmmakers, young filmmakers, and say, hey, come, let's make something nice about our band. And then they can buy it, you know, this kind of system. I thought it would be interesting. And then I told you in the beginning that I did this also a little bit as an experiment for my future work. I wanted to put something with music in my first fiction film. And I did it later, and Nick did the film music, and I was filming him again in a studio, in a box, but not the band anymore. And it has a specific connection to the atmosphere of the film, and so sometimes, and this nobody did before, I never saw it, you see a scene, then the film music starts, and then you go into the studio and you see how the film music is doing in this moment, done, you know? And then you go back to the scene again. So I try to make in my movie the film music visible. And then when I had my preview, even my film was in the Berlin Berlinale, so it's our biggest festival. Nobody really took much care about it because Nick was not famous and stuff. And I don't know, also the band, I thought they didn't really support me. And then it was happened 3 years, I think, later. To my preview, Wim Wenders came. A friend of mine asked me, can I bring Nick, can I bring Nick, Wim Wenders and stuff? Yeah, sure, if he likes to see my film. Yeah, sure, why not? And so he met these people to me. And then 3 years later, he made this Himmel über Berlin. And in Himmel über Berlin, there is one song, Nick is on stage with a band. That's it. Nothing special. Not a talk, not even involved in anything. Just one song. And everywhere was written, Wim Wenders discovered Nick Cave. And I was really pissed, and I see on the biography, Nick never put my film on the biography, never.
Now, what year
and
was
also
that
not the video.
That came out?
And he was playing the card. Yeah, I am with Wim Wenders, you know, and this I don't like. Sorry, it's the only negative thing I have to tell about this band.
No.
But it's maybe always with musicians.
Well, I think that gets you back to the next question here. Now, when you first showed it to the band, I believe Mick Harvey had said that they didn't like it. They thought it was too dark. It showed a bad side of what the band was. What was your response to that at the time?
I can't really. Sorry, I really can't remember when I show it to them, and I think I didn't show it to everybody together. I really don't know. I just know I can say that Nick never, and Nick was the longest guy who was from the longest time from all the people in Berlin, and he never ever said something about this film. I told you, the first time Mick Harvey came and he wants to have it in the show for the 50th birthday. That's it, and that was the first time. So I think at that time, at least, he saw the video there, and I think there is one really the end of the whole thing when he is alone in the studio. This is Junkyard, yeah, this song.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really like he killed himself in front of the microphone, you know.
Yeah.
It was really like, ah! And sorry, not sorry, maybe I can be proud of this. I never, ever saw anything like this from him. Not in his movies he did, not in the other movies, because there was also some people later, they tried to copy my movie, they also went with him in the studio and stuff. There was never such an intensive moment where a singer tried to sing his song like this overdubbing. He was like really, how you say, he wants to scratch himself, you know, like put everything, every single energy he has in his body he wants to put out, you know. This is so intensive. For me, it's amazing. I still, if I see it, I like, whoa, what's this, you know?
No, it really is a great documentation of the band at work, and unfortunately, there's not much much footage of the band itself out there. You know, it's criminal how undocumented they are. I liken it to the Stooges' career, like just a band that went completely unnoticed.
Yeah.
But, so about the footage you shot, it's a 24-minute documentary. How much footage do you think you shot, and is that footage lying around anywhere?
I have to say, I think I collect this. I think I have it in my basement. I have to really watch it again, check it again, because now sometimes I'm really afraid that some films, some stuff is really gone, you know. And I have this with other films. I have more material because when I went with them to the studio, first of all, I didn't know what does it mean. So how it looks like, how it works like, how they work, and so on, how is the situation. So then I find out, okay, there's a studio with a mixer where everything comes together. There is this huge studio where the musicians are in, and then Nick in the box and stuff. So this is a setup, and you have to react on this in a way. And then on that time, I mean, they had a really heavy time because about the drugs sometimes, really, and coming together and really concentrated working and stuff. And then I just had the chance. I tried to record as much I could do, and I was not sure sometimes. I thought, oh, this is a nice shot. This is a nice moment. Okay. This is, I have a little bit more maybe about this song, but I didn't have really any idea how to cut it in the end, what kind of film I will do. I just collect every second I could get, and I could try to be like concentrated, that I think also on okay, in the end you have to edit, you know, and so this is why I also work with long shots, because if you just always like, this point, okay, I got it, I showed it, this is interesting, you take the camera, you make a zoom, blah, blah, how you want to cut it later, you know. So I was just watching. I was thinking, I'm watching them working. That's it. And then later, I found out that the most material I got was from this Jennifer's Wail, this song, you know. And all this other song, I don't know, it was more fragments, and it was no. And then I decide, okay, all these different fragments doesn't make really sense to people to watch it. So just I took all the material where they work on this song first. That's it. And then I start editing this. And then in the end, because this end scene where he was really like so intensive, I thought, okay, this is not the same song, but this is such an intensive moment, I have to show it, you know. And so the combination, it was also interesting. It was not just, it comes up like this. So it starts in the studio where he is getting onto this mixing table, and he wants to listen to something and to do something. And this moment I cut and use it, and then after I could bring the last scene, you know. And yeah, that was in the end the concept.
All right, so with all this footage you've got, do you see, like with what Peter Jackson just did for the Beatles with Get Back, do you see yourself going back to this footage and putting together a big hurrah with it all?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I throw everything away. First of all, I took only this material where they work on this song. So then I thought, okay, maybe you can build up something on one song. And in the end, I was right, yeah, because there was such different kind of farce where they work on this song, that in the end you can get a little bit the feeling how the song would be like, you know. That's it.
Are you going to revisit that footage and put out any more that you shot at all?
Maybe I mean, okay, you also remind me on this, and I have it on my list to take care about all my video stuff, because there's also all the video stuff I have. I think it's 3-4 hours interview with Burroughs. I think I have to digital. to bring it on digital, you know. And now I have very close by here, there's a studio for artists, where you can get the studio, and I find out they nearly have every different format which was ever exists from video, and you can copy that to digital. And this I think I will do once.
It would definitely be worth it. I'm telling you, there's
yeah.
countless people that would be dying to see this footage.
Yeah.
All right, William S. Burroughs, wanted to ask you about that because I did a browse of your IMDb page and I saw that you did that. I was curious about how that came about and if there was any connection to them, like Mick and William both being heroin users, or if that was just coincidental that you happened to fall into that.
No, it was more, kind of not really specific about heroin, but I was really young, and I was in my hometown, not in Berlin. I was living in this industrial part of Germany near Dortmund, Essen and stuff, and I was kind of part of a group. There was a guy, a priest. They kicked him out of the church, and he opened up a house. It was for junkies, and sometimes people come out of the prison, but they mostly have also drug problems, and so we were part of these to work with these people. And sometimes it was like, if you are a kind of community, you take somebody into your community and to take care about him, Entzug. So when you really have to stop heroin, and the first days they're really heavy, you know. So I come in contact with this very early, and I think this was my luck. I never had problems with heroin. And because I said, no, this I don't want to get through, you know. And so with Burroughs, I was reading the books very early, and I was fascinated about his books. And and with Nick and all these people, it was just happened. I didn't have so much contact with, there was maybe two guys, some writers in Berlin. I didn't have so much contact with people. They took heroin at that time because people were more afraid. All the scene around Nick, there was not much heroin. In the beginning, they just took speed. And I think they was one of the only one with heroin. And I have to say, and it goes back to a little bit to my first experience with heroin people, it's not like these heroin people you saw later on the street, you know. Nick was not a junkie.
Yeah.
So what you normally say about, if you say junkie, you think about people hanging out on the next corner, falling to sleep and stuff. And normally with Nick, I think I never really saw him that he took something and he was really smashed and totally fucked up. I think with Roland, I saw him several times. He was really flashed, you know. And so this was a different kind. Yeah, this was not junky. It was more kind of junk you know from literature people in the 50s or 20s, this kind of behavior. And I remember I had once a long talk with him in the night with Nick, and he couldn't sleep, and I hear him going up and down because our flat was really long. And then I went out of my room and we started talking. And then he told me something about, and I give him a joint. And normally he never spoke pot or something. And in the end, he was really start laughing. I never saw him before like this, you know. It was so funny. And then we talk, and then I ask him, I think, something about his heroin stuff and so on. And I remember that he told me, okay, you know, for me, it's like a wall I can put around me. nobody can touch me, nobody can reach me. I'm alone. I can concentrate it on myself, and that's it. And and I think this is the strongest, maybe, what you can get from heroin. And you know, like if you read from people who took heroin and stuff, they really can go inside themselves, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a very self-isolating drug, not a social interaction.
Yeah, but they also can produce something which normally people can't produce, you know, because they don't get behind the walls and stuff from their own life. And
now, another thing about the William S. Burroughs thing. Now, on the IMDb page, it says you were a camera operator for a documentary, but did you say that you interviewed William S. Burroughs?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a long, like 4 hours or longer. I was so surprised because when we did it, he was not so young anymore. I mean, not young. I mean, he was pretty old, and I was surprised. I thought maybe there's an old man coming, you know, took too much drugs in his life. He was so fucking concentrated. I was so surprised how he talks. He was not like, really, you can print it after, you know, really straight, really concentrated. And I think it was like 3 hours or maybe longer. I was so surprised that he never stopped and say, "Hey, people, leave me alone. Go. It's enough," you know. And
do you remember what year?
And the only thing, what?
Do you remember what year or whereabouts that was when you interviewed him?
I have to check. Must be in the 90s.
Really? Eh? Wow, that's wild because that's late for William S. Burroughs. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very late. And he was playing with some friends in Germany. They invite him for a movie, so he had a small part in this movie. And one day they showed the movie in Berlin, and they invite him for a reading. So there was a night in the cinema, and then I said to these people, well, I was involved as a cameraman a little bit in this film. And then I said, hey, let's document this, you know. And he's reading, and then also we make an interview. And then we organized somebody in Germany. He was also a writer, and he was a pilot from the pilot was German, big German company, and but he was a writer also, and he was really into this scene, this New York stuff, and he really liked Burroughs, and we said, okay, would you like to do the interview? And so this is how we made this interview. But also a very strange story later. I did it with a friend, and because he was from the film, I was organized the money from TV that we can produce all this stuff, and in the end, he steal my the footage and cut it together and said, "Is his film?" And I was a cameraman or something. Really strange.
So that's what I read on the IMDb, because you're credited as the camera operator.
No, it's totally wrong. It's totally wrong.
Oh, okay.
I produced the whole thing. I organized the whole thing. There is no, in the end, you can say there's no director. So we filmed the reading in the cinema, and then we made the interview in the hotel, and the interview was done by this German writer. That's it.
Wow, that's amazing. You got to get that out there and get the credit away from that guy.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I was so fed up with it. I had so bad experience sometimes with friends working. You can't imagine. It's really strange. Even now, I had a big project. I don't know if you know this band Can.
I don't think so, no.
No? Maybe you have to find out. Can, I think it's the most important band in Europe or especially in Germany, much more influence and stronger than Kraftwerk. And because Kraftwerk, normally all the people know. You know Kraftwerk?
Yep.
Yeah, you see. And for example, when David Bowie died, in one of his last interviews, he said, my last record, this was a dark, what was it called? Dark Star, yeah?
Yeah, Dark Star.
Yeah, Dark Star. He said, this record is totally influenced by Can. And it's a band from the 70s, and I think they make a revolution in the music. And because they was making the first combination with electronic stuff. And they didn't make like classical songs. They make sessions. They were playing, and then later they edit the music. You really have to listen. There's one very famous called Vitamin C.
Okay.
No, you have to listen. Can. It's like the Can. CAN, you know.
Okay, yep.
And this is really, I think, from the 90s, all these British bands, Massive Attack, and all these people, until Sonic Youth and whatever, in interviews, they always speak on one point about Can. Everybody.
Yeah, well, I've got to look into them.
Yeah, and I made a big project here in Berlin with them.
Yeah.
This is something I would like to do more, but it's also not so easy to getting the money, and also sometimes the musicians. It's very, I don't know. It's not so easy to work with musicians. And so I did this. I was working 2 years on this program to get the money together, because in the end we had a concert with a big orchestra, and where one guy is still alive from the Can band. He was conducting, and he made a symphony. It was called like the Can Symphony, and it was also played in London before. And so I had to find an orchestra here, a space, a theater, and then I had the idea to take German musicians, like for a tribute concert, that they can play Can songs. And I had the money, they went to the studio, blah, blah, blah. They get really well paid. In the end, they really tried to fuck me, these musicians. You can't, they were even friends, you know. You can't imagine. And this is for me always, I would like to do more with this music. I called it Behind the Music. So what I would like to show more is musicians, if they do also something else. For example, with Nick Cave, you could do it because he always were doing also artwork. So a lot of people who are musicians, sometimes they paint, sometimes they write and stuff. And so make small, events with musicians, invite them. Some people, sometimes they do films or videos and stuff. This was a little bit my idea, you know. Yeah, but on this program I was working 2 years, and in the end, this shit experience, even with friends that try to fuck you, oh, come on.
No, that really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Now, William S. Burroughs, the birthday party footage, all unreleased. Are you sitting on any other golden nuggets? Do you have a backlog of Einstürzend and Bauten?
Yeah, for example, if you're not here in this area, there's also a video. It's also mentioned in my biography. Maybe I have to send you my new biography. The guy is called Heiner Müller. And Heiner Müller, he was a very famous guy. He was a writer, but special for theater. And also sometimes he directed. And he was the most famous people also in this period when the wall came down. And And I did also at that time, it was during the time when the wall came down, 89, I tried to make a film with him, like a small portrait. And then I had the idea to say, okay, if you make a kind of portrait with a writer, so what you want to show? And I thought all these stupid movies, documentaries, they say, okay, this is a house he was born, and this is this, and this is that. And then I said, okay, the phenomenon, Heiner Müller, everybody knows, even internationally, he became really famous. I noticed when I was with him at that time, you always get calls from Japan, from there. All the people wanted to make interviews with him. And he was really good, very special in terms of interviews. And so I decided and said, yeah, but everybody knows him, but nobody really knows his text. And then I thought, okay, if you have a band, why you can make a video clip with a band, why you can't make a video clip with a writer? And so we did some experiments with him, and for this feature, we did some kind of video clips. Very simple, not really a little bit with green screen and things like this. But in the end, you can say, yeah, this is, it's really kind of video clips, And this stuff I did. And then sometimes you think, if the industry see this, because sometimes they make small movies about books and stuff, but they're mostly so boring, and maybe some people notice this and they would say, hey, it's a good idea, why we can't make more of this, why only musicians make video clips? But it was never happened. So, yeah. But this was always people, in a way, I had a connection with. Even with Burroughs, I was reading his stuff very early. I was fascinated. With Heiner Müller, I met him personally. He was also acting in one film of mine. And with Mick, they came to our place. They were living in our space. So mostly I have a personal connection to the work I'm doing.
Two quick questions, and then we'll wrap this up for you. 3 people that I know made an impression on the music scene in Berlin. Just curious if you ever crossed paths with them. Iggy Pop, Lou Reed, or David Bowie?
What is with David Bowie?
Did you ever cross paths? Like, did you ever meet?
Sure, I met him in the same building before Nick. Because I came to this building just by accident. I was starting at the film school. I was not very long in Berlin, and I didn't have my own flat. So I always went to places where something is free for some months and stuff. And one day I saw an advert like, I'm renting my factory space. It's really huge. And you have also a dark room for photography. And normally where I came from, I had these. And now in Berlin, I could make my black and white stuff and so on. And said, hey, this is perfect. And I went to the space. And it was such an interesting space. It was really, I always said, this was the first new wave designed factory space I saw in Berlin. Half of the flat was black and half of the flat was white. And there was nearly no furniture, just very small, simple things, And this was a photographer. And my room, I took the black room, but I had this, I don't know how you say, this thing where the photographer can take the paper down and have this screen behind for shooting,
Okay, yeah.
So I always had the feeling I'm living in a cinema, because the whole film, the whole room, the floor and everything was black, and just this big thing which you can put down, this white thing where he can put his models in front of and make these photographs. And Later, I took another space downstairs, one flat downstairs, because I said, one day this guy will come back, but I want to stay in this kind of environment. I don't want to go to a normal flat and stuff. And then there was a woman. He rent this place to after us. There was a woman, and she was the girlfriend of Iggy Pop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Esther.
Now, I'm like,
you can find her name. She made a lot of photographs and stuff. But at that time, she was not together with him anymore. But this was, I know, she was talking a lot of time about these and stuff. And Esther was really special. She was so much on cocaine. And, this factory space, it's just a concrete floor. And when she went with high heels, sometimes I was getting crazy. Then I went to her, Esther, please, I buy you a carpet, I buy you new house shoes, whatever. But please, don't run the whole night in your high heels, you drive me crazy. And one day she told me, oh, Heiner, very careful, tonight David Bowie will come and visit me, because he had a concert in Berlin. And he was twice there, and once she invited me. She said, okay, you can come over. And so he really came every time, I think, when he was in Berlin, and he was visiting her, and I was thinking, strange, why okay, I liked her in a way, but she was like always totally smashed and stuff. And why he's visiting her, it's wasted, yeah, but they're old friends, what you can say. And and this, for me, it was strange, because in this building, it was always something happened. So then, the birthday party came, then we had just near our flat, there was one room, a separated room. Later, Nick was living in this room. There was always something changing and happened, and it was always drugs in the house, or drug problem, I don't know. This was really a special house, I have to say.
That's an incredible experience you've been able to have in there. Under that
Yeah.
All right, and well, I'll wrap this up then with the last question. Is there anything now that you're doing now currently that you want people to check out? Where can they check it out? What are you putting out, and how can they get a hold of it?
You mean what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
So I'm working a little bit on. I have not a little bit. I work on photographic stuff. So I really want to do in the next future. I want to do some exhibitions, and also try to make photo exhibitions. But I would like to work with musicians, that they make me a soundtrack. That the exhibition also has a soundtrack, and not you go into a room and you go just watch the pictures and then you leave. So that there's something in this direction. I'm working on something, and then I have some kind of culture programs I invented. Or one, it was just by accident. There was again a big thing I was working. I wanted to go away a little bit from film, and I saw a chance. I wanted to go to the theater, and then I was working for a really long time on the project. It was the only theater play of Andy Warhol which exists. And it was something we find out. So even the Warhol Foundation didn't have the play. In the end, we found the play. But it was so complicated. Took me 3 years to get the contract for the copyrights and stuff. In the end, it was nearly 7 years, and it looks like we can do everything what we want to do. And then this partner of mine, he got totally mad, and he destroyed the project. and then I was really poor, because I was not working 7 years only on this, but this was something, for me it was a bridge between cinema and coming to the theater, because it's not easy to just, you can't go to the theater and say, yeah, now I want to make theater. No, it's also close family, you know. And but we thought, if you have a piece like this wall thing, nobody knows you found it, so they don't want to discuss always what kind of director you are. You can no, it's a wall play, nobody knows. This is interesting, you know, it's enough. And this was a card I wanted to play. Yeah, this friend totally fucked this thing, you know. I was really, the first day I was running around my scene here, because it's a lot of Turkish people, and I go to all my Turkish friends and say, hey, come, how much is it to kill somebody? I was really, 7 years of my life was destroyed, you know, and I don't know why, just because he was mad or jealousy, or I don't know, you know. Everything was there. We had the actors, we had the money, even the most best place for to show him it. It was a big museum here, a very known museum, and in the end I made it. And later I heard that he was jealousy, and he was thinking that I take it over, or so, I don't know, really stupid things. And then, yeah, it was really like a black hole. I was thinking, fuck, what I'm doing with my life. I was thinking, working on it 7 years, and this could be the future, but this is not possible then. No, it's not possible, what I'm doing. And then I came up with a very old idea I never did. I have a big yard where I'm living, and there's like 30 balconies, 4 floors, 5 floors, and but very small balconies. And in the beginning, when I came into this place here to live here, I was always thinking, one day I have to do something with these balconies. And then I had the idea to put a choir on these balconies, on 4 floors, and we made very nice light. I get a little bit money from the government, and it was a perfect night. The choir, this was an atmosphere with the light in the summertime. People loved it. Just the sound, just the singing, and so on. And on this, I'm working. Did more and more. The next I did once with 7 choirs, and it's really one of the nicest space you can find in Bergheim. Is nothing against it. This is a Kraftwerk. It's an old power station from the DDR time, and there's this techno scene, the techno festivals and stuff. And we did it there, and it's just concrete inside, different floors. You can watch sometimes down to the floor, and so it's open. And so I had 7 choirs there, and it's called. I made a series, and it's called Human on Sunday. And I invite people for going there, just being there, and they don't know exactly what will be happen, but for sure I don't want to make exhibitions, I don't want to make classical concert, I don't want to have DJs and whatever. So the best is empty space. This is the first thing. Second, if it's possible, no technique, and people can do whatever they like to do. They can come, stay there for 7 hours, that's it. And with the second thing, more than 4,000 people came. And now I'm planning, because this is about this fucking virus, I had to change it. But this year I will do something with 12 choirs. This is in Berlin. We have a very new train station, and this is the main train station, also with 7 with different floors and stuff. Yeah, this is one thing, one line I would like to do more, and I'm looking for partners. It's very difficult because I can't do this always alone, But I like it because, about my experience, that people love choirs. And there is nothing to discuss. These voices, human voices singing, it's nice. It's just beautiful. And you can have so many different people, you can make them happy with it. It's really strange. It's not like you can't combine it with anything else. Not with a concert, with a rock concert. You always say specific people, but this everybody likes, you know. And it's a special atmosphere. Yeah, and I would like to continue. And maybe I have the chance now, if this has happened, to go to all the other train stations in Germany. I would like to do more also on the street with singing and stuff. And you have so much people, choirs. I think in Berlin we have like 300 choirs.
Really? That I wouldn't have. I mean, just in Berlin alone, eh?
So this is also one line I'm continue, you know, and so I'm really interested in totally different things, but also only things. Yeah, this was a very, very old idea, and there's a famous singer now in Germany. And he gave me this idea when he was a student. He invites people. There were 3 opera singers, and they did something in the holidays in the summer hotels. They just invite friends. And for example, we went to they invite to a special factory space, was empty. They put a little bit light. They were standing in on the windows, and there was one fire ladder and stuff. They use it. That's it. Really simple, you know, without money, with nothing. But they were singing opera, and at that time, you normally listen to all this punk and stuff, and then some the young people came and was singing opera, and for me it was so funny, and I really loved it, you know. And I don't know how many years later, I said, okay, now I'm in a position, I have to do something, otherwise I go crazy. Now I go back to this very old idea. I never forgot, but there was never a time to do it. Yeah, and then I did it, and now there is a whole line coming up with it, you know. So this is, yeah, this is mostly the way I'm working. So you do something, and then the next thing just comes out of it. And I'm not the guy who writes something or what the TV would like to have, what kind of story you can tell them. I'm out of this business, sorry.
Yeah. No, well, I got to thank you very much for spending your time here answering these questions. It's truly appreciated. Heard some great stories from you and your past dealings with the birthday party.
Yeah.
I guess last thing I'm going to say is, if you get any of those photos from when they were staying at your flat and you get them up available digitally, whether you put
this I really have to say, I don't know why I was not photographing them in my flat. I went with them to the studio, but I never photographed them. But at that time we were living with 3 guys. There's one guy, Christoph Dreher. We were together in the film school, and we also made together our first movie, Okay, the Modern Dance. This is a music film. And there was another guy, he was photographer, and he made a lot of photographs of them, but I don't have contact. He's not living in Germany anymore, and I don't see him. I only can give you the name, and you can make a research and write to him or something. I think he's maybe on Facebook. I can give you the name or something, but I can't help you to get pictures from that time with Trey. I don't really know why I don't have something. Very strange. Very strange. I was thinking later very often about it. Why I never, because I was photographing a lot at that time, you know. I was really into photographing, but I didn't do it. I just said, okay, let's go to the studio.
All right. thanks a lot there, Heiner. Like I said, if you get that footage that you shot, digitized and available, I personally would love to see it.
Yeah, let's stay in contact if something has happened, or if you want to, if you have something like a blog, or maybe what it would be nice, because I'm working on my website. And I wanted to put some movies on my website where I have complete the copyright and stuff. And but I was, even in this, I was not really lucky. There's a guy, he's working on it like 2 years or more. But now we come to the end. And I will put this film definitely on my website. And maybe it would be interesting for me to connect my website, for example, to other people.
Yep.
And for example, if you would put something like a minute or some pictures from this program, and people can click on that and they come to my website. I don't have a website. I don't will have the films on my website. I think they built for me a kind of channel, a YouTube channel.
Well, I saw your YouTube channel there. I subscribed that. I'll link that to.
Yeah, so that we can make a link or something. Yeah.
No,
I will put it. I will try to put it on YouTube and also maybe Vimeo.
Either way, I have to see. It would be great to see, and it's footage that probably should be. I mean, it's historically significant. But again,
okay, this we can do, and if you don't, I don't know if you write something. I don't know if you want to take it like really like an interview, or you make a summary and write something from your perspective. I don't know what kind of style you will do it, but in the end, I would like to read it before, or please try to correct my bad English sometimes.
Hey, I'm telling you, your English is far better than my German, so the interview was just fine. I think it went over great. Yeah. I'm truly appreciative. I wish you nothing but health and success in the future.
Okay, so one day you think about coming to Berlin, or what? Never.
I would love to go to visit Germany and see the sights, but there's no plans for international travel right now. Right now, it's hard enough to travel nationally just because of the state of everything.
Yeah. But what you're doing regularly? You have a job, or you a freelancer, or?
I work a day job, and then this is a part of kind of what I want to do. I've been, like I said, I've been interviewing people for a bit, but I put on shows forever. I played in a few bands. I just want to keep creating.
Okay. But, if you have some links to music, send it to me.
All right, we'll do. We'll definitely stay in touch. I'll shoot you a message after.
Okay, let's do.
Thanks a lot, eh?
Yeah, have a nice evening. Ciao, ciao. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.